Welcome to all of my friends here tonight. I'm Rob Booker, and we're here for a special once a month Tuesday night webinar. And we're going to talk about some trading ideas. We're going to talk about some setups, take a look at tradingview.com, not for any particular reason, just because it's right up on my screen. Talk to you about a trade that we had last night. Super happy. So many of you are Trifecta traders, and would love to invite any of you that are not Trifecta traders, would love to invite you to give that a shot as well. That's not really the main focus of tonight, but I do want to take a look at a couple stocks, and I do want to take a look at a couple of currencies. I want to talk to you about pivots in particular. We've had a conversation about this in the past. I can see Jim's here. Hey, Jim. I was thinking about you, Jim, in Atlanta today. I was just thinking about how grateful I am that you're my friend. I was just thinking about that. Namir's upside down and euro dollar going long. Okay, let's take a look at euro dollar in just a minute. I wanted to talk about the power of pivots. And pivots are just super powerful. I don't know if everyone here is familiar with pivots, but all of you that are in the Trifecta course by now know that my charts are just full of weekly pivots that are green, monthly pivots that are purple, and daily pivots which are blue. You can't see any daily pivots on the screen right here. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you all about why they're so powerful and the point of using these wonderful creations. So let's pull up the euro dollar. Our good friend Namir is long the euro dollar and would like some comfort. It sounds completely reasonable. So let's give him some comfort. I wonder, when I try to record the webinar in this, it just slows my whole computer down nowadays. All right, let's take a look here at, hey Isaac, what'd you forget? Oh, got it. All right, I'll see you later.
Wait, am I coming back?
I don't know, I'll talk to you later. I'm doing my webinar right now. I love you.
I'm back.
I love you.
Love you too.
All right. Let's take a look at the euro. Talk about the power of pivots. I want to talk to you about why I love pivots so much. I'm going to turn off the webcam and make sure everybody can see my screen. Let me know you can see the screen okay. All right, great. So I turned off the video so that you can see a full screen chart. I want to talk to you, almost everybody here is a Trifecta trader. I think probably 100% of you are a Trifecta 2 trader. If you are not, let me know. If you are not familiar with the Trifecta system, could you leave a comment in the comment box right now and let me know? Just say, no, I am not familiar with the system, and let me know. Oh, wow, a lot of you. What in the world? Okay, great. Wow. Okay, so wow. So there's a bunch of you that still need that. I'll put it back on sale tonight for those of you that want to get it. It's currently not on sale, but we will put a link up in just a little while so you guys can get it, because I just cannot imagine you not wanting to get all over that. All right. This is a 15-minute euro dollar chart, everyone, and these are daily pivot points in blue. Most pivot points are hit. If you're not familiar with what a pivot point is yesterday's high, low, and close added up together and divided by 3. And that results in a horizontal line placed on the chart. That horizontal line represents a fixed place in time for the next 24 hours. And the market is drawn to that level. It acts as a magnet to that level. I use pivots for a variety of things. I use pivots as stop losses, profit targets. I use pivots to judge the beginning of a trend. I use pivots for a variety of reasons and in a lot of different ways. Recently, the euro dollar began to fall. You can see it right on the screen in front of us. You can see the euro dollar dropping since the non-farm payroll report was better than expected, and the euro dropped. It's been dropping down into the 3690, 3700 area. It could go a little further, but you'll notice on my chart that this pivot right here, this is a daily pivot, and then the subsequent daily pivot right here, those two pivot points were not hit by price. You can see there's no candles touching those two pivots. My friend Namer and maybe several other people are in buy trades trading toward those levels. Now, Namer, if you traditionally need to close those positions at a quick loss, don't forget to continue to do that. You don't need to hold those positions open. I want to talk to you, Namer, and everybody here tonight about what we could do to benefit from or make money from the fact that those two pivot points are missed. A lot of you here will know exactly what is supposed to happen next. The euro dollar is supposed to, statistically speaking, make an attempt to rise upward and hit those two pivots. It may not get to those two pivots, but it needs to make an attempt to get back to near those levels. It might not get all the way there, but it needs to make an attempt to get there. The trifecta methodology, which some of you are familiar with, but several of you here tonight are not. The trifecta trading method is a method of using these pivot points to find a trade opportunity and then take 3 steps to get into a trade. The first element of the trifecta method, or one of the systems in the trifecta method, is to look for a missed daily pivot. And we can see that there are 2 of those in a row. 2 of those right there. The second element of the trifecta method is to find divergence. Divergence is the disagreement between price and an indicator. And on my charts here, I built an indicator called Booker Knoxville Divergence. You can get it on tradingview.com under Marketplace Add-ons. Booker Knoxville Divergence shows you areas where price is likely to begin a corrective move in the opposite direction. And as you can see on the screen here, we have divergence in red in this area where you see the arrow, and then in this area right here where you see a second arrow. Those areas are both places where we might expect the euro dollar to correct and move in the opposite direction. That's part 2 of the 3-step trifecta process. Step 3 is to wait for a trend line break. And I can draw a trend line across recent price right here on the euro dollar, and I can actually see that we have missed pivots. So we have missed pivots above where price is. We have seen divergence, bullish divergence underneath the candles, which suggests that price is going to move upward. And then we've got a break of the trend line upward. So Namer, we're looking at a situation here where we might add a little bit to our trade or execute the first of some trades in the direction of those missed pivots. So the 3 steps of the trifecta method, at least with respect to daily pivots, and the counter trend method is to look for a missed daily pivot, then look for divergence, and then look for a trend line break. And we have all of those elements right here. So for those reasons, I am looking for the euro US dollar to make an attempt to rise upward here. And let's talk about where it might get to. We have the next day's pivot, tomorrow's pivot, which is printing right now because it's already midnight in England. For those of you that stayed up really late, thank you very much. That was really kind of you. We have a pivot right here. Tomorrow's pivot is at 37.20. So I'm going to make a bold prediction that this level, 37.20, is going to be hit within the next 24 hours. Why? Because we have missed pivots above where we are. we have divergence, and we have a trend line break. Now we're only at 37.02. So we're not that, I mean, that's only 18 pips up to 37.20. But it's a reasonably high probability trade. I would be looking for the euro US dollar to rise upward toward 37.20 over the course of the next 24 hours, if not further than that. In fact, I would look for the euro to get as high as halfway the distance, at least halfway the distance between where it is right now and the nearest missed daily pivot. This is trifecta trading. Trifecta trading has 4 different primary methods and then a bunch of corollary trading strategies that go along with it that give us trend and counter trend trading strategies. And this is the daily pivot counter trend trifecta method. And it is a buy trade on the euro up to or toward these missed daily pivots. I believe that we will at least get to 37.20 by tomorrow, sometime in the next 24 hours, and we may get as high as 37.44. Now, we may also get as high as 37.62, which is, on my chart, this missed daily pivot from the 11th of May. That is a setup on the trifecta methodology. Now, somewhere I have a link for those of you that don't have the full trifecta system. Let's just take a break here and make sure I get this link. So let's see here. Let's see. TFL shopping cart. The trifecta trade strategy. Let's copy that. And then let's put that on the screen. I think this should work. For those of you that want to get it, it should be available at j.mp/trifecta deadline. It's $27. So I don't care if you buy it or not. I'll put it inside the webinar software at the right-hand side of your screen. In the chat box, I will put a link there as well. That should work. Yeah, that's not going to work. I am so sorry. Okay, I will change that in the next 25 minutes. I will change that. So keep that link up, and I will put a buy button on there, and I will leave it up for an hour. It's already gone off sale, but I will put the buy button back up there for those of you that want it. But let's just talk about another trade. Does everybody want to see another trade, not just the euro dollar? Does everybody want to see another one? All right, let's see another one. All right. Here's another one that I've been looking forward to a lot. Let's talk about a buy trade on the dollar Swiss franc. Because everybody, tell me, what's the trend here? What's the trend on the dollar Swiss franc on the chart in front of us? Up. Mel. Hey, Mel. It's good to see you. Hi, Mel. David, Brett, Steve, Joanne, David, Aldo. Excellent. Okay, great. It's up. It's clearly up. It's obviously up. I'll tell you the other reason missed pivots are awesome. These missed pivots not only are magnets like we just saw on the euro dollar, they are also indications that a developing trend going upward is coming. And it's significant. What we would like to see is a drop in the US dollar Swiss franc, and then we would like to buy the US dollar Swiss franc. Very much would like to buy the US dollar Swiss franc. So everybody, I would like to suggest that there is a trade coming on the US dollar Swiss franc. I would like to suggest that there is a buy trade coming on a dip around 88.55. Around 88.55. A buy trade is coming on that dip. Why do I say that? The reason I say that is, I even think it could be lower. Well, yeah, 88.55. That's pretty good. The reason I say that is, when a pivot point is missed, when price finishes a day and does not hit a pivot point, it is an indication that price wants to move in the direction that it was going when it missed the pivot. So it is likely to correct, leading to a possible sell trade that could be awesome. And it is possible afterwards that it will move in that same direction that it was going before that correction. So all of you here know that price moves up, then it corrects, then price moves up again, then it corrects, and so forth. Impulse corrective in waves, and so forth. The trifecta methodology suggests that when pivot points are missed, you're in the midst or in the middle of impulse trending waves going in the direction that it's going as it's missing those pivots. And that on the next correction, we want to buy that currency pair or stock. Doesn't matter if it's a stock, it doesn't matter if it's oil, doesn't matter if it's gold. So these missed pivot points suggest that the US dollar Swiss franc will drop and then it will correct upward in a buy trade situation. For those of you that are members of the Trifecta 2 course, you already know that we are looking for a bullish divergence on our charts. It will look just like this right here, a red line underneath price, and then there will be a jump upwards most likely. So that's what we are looking for over here. We are looking for a red line underneath price and then a jump upward. And we are looking for that as soon as possible. We believe that first we will drop and then we will go upward again. I like this trade a lot. This is actually the #1 trade that I am looking for right now across all of my charts. Now you might be wondering, does this stuff really work? Now there are hundreds of people in the webinar tonight that will say that this stuff works just fine. For those of you that are in the webinar tonight that are Trifecta course members, are you pretty satisfied that this is working pretty well for you? Just check out the comments section. Yes, Gerald. Yes, Joan. Absolutely, Russell. Yes, Vishal. Eduardo. Hell yeah, says Nimer. Absolutely, David. Jimmy. Steve. Manuel. Stephen. Sebastian. Jim. Chris. Yes, says John. Weldon. Marco. Mario. Michael. Kathy. William. Awesome. All right. So we're pretty happy about this. Let me show you an example of exactly what I'm talking about on the two types of trades that I showed you tonight. Tonight, I started off by showing you a counter trend trade on the euro. I will now attempt to show you with my bare hands what that looks like when it works. This is the euro Canadian dollar. The other day, the euro Canadian dollar missed its daily pivot. The first thing that we believe will happen is that it will travel upward to make an attempt to get near, but maybe not all the way to that missed pivot. So we looked for divergence and we found it. After we found divergence, we drew a trend line on price. And then I sent out a trade alert to TFL members and suggested that we buy this currency pair when it broke above that trend line. And so we did, and price moved upward, and we made a profit. I think we might have had the trend line in a bunch of different places. I don't remember where it was. It doesn't really matter, but we did well. Now I can log into my server here, and we can see, does Booker actually trade this at all? So I'm going to hide my login credentials. And I'm going to pause. I'm not going to show you my login to my server. So here we are. This is the Euro Canadian closed trade. This is live. This is not a demo account. This is the account that I trade with my friend Jared, and it has $336,000 in it. And this is a live trade. I bought at 1.5002, and we exited at 5,035, 1.5035. That was a profit of $3,049. We have a variety of trades. We recently had a $1,000, $1,900 loser, an $1,800 winner, and so forth. But I'm really doing these things. I'm really taking these trades. I'm not demo trading this stuff, and I'm doing it for real. So I believe in it enough to trade this with my actual money. And that's an example of the counter trend trade. Let me show you an example of the trend trade. So tonight I showed you an example of what happens when price might begin to trend after a missed pivot. And let's see if I can find an example on the pound yen. I'm just randomly choosing the pound yen. That is a barely missed pivot, and that's going to be very difficult for people to see. So let's just choose one that's clearly missed. Okay. This is an example of the trend trade. This pivot on the pound yen was missed. It's a daily pivot, and it was missed. Price then moved upward a little bit. Then it corrected, just as we would expect it to do. We would expect it to do a correction back toward that level. Then it printed divergence. Bullish divergence. It missed the pivot traveling upward, so we thought a trend might be developing on the British pound Japanese yen. We bought it on a break upward when it broke through a trend line, and as you can see, it rose upward substantially, nicely. It went from 172 to 172.90, 90 points. Whether this is a stock or a currency pair or whatever else, these are just two of the ideas or ways that you can use these pivots for trend and counter trend trades. And you can use these long-term and short-term. And tonight we looked at a buy trade coming up on the US dollar Swiss franc and a buy trade on the euro US dollar for both of those different kinds. All right, so the video. Brad says the first trendline break was a loss. The second was a win on pound yen long example. Right, exactly. Perfect. Matt says, oh man, CAD yen has a tasty weekly pivot I'm interested in. Does anybody want to look at the Canadian dollar Japanese yen before we sign off here and give you guys time together and to hang out with your loved ones? So Robert asks about Thinkorswim. We just heard back from the developer again today, and it is like just like hours away from being done, Robert. We are finally having significant progress on a platform that is traditionally very difficult to develop for. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. So I think, Matt, are you looking at this week's pivot? I think Matt's looking at this week's pivot. Oh, it's way up there. He's looking at a trade. All right. Well, that's not really going to work for us right now because it's a long way off. Let's show the euro US dollar. Polly, we looked at that already, but we'll look at it one more time. Let's look at it on a weekly chart. Not a weekly chart, a 60-minute chart with the weekly pivots. For those of you wondering if this strategy can apply to longer term trading, it does. We use the weekly chart, the 60-minute chart, and the weekly pivots. The weekly pivot is in green, and I have a strategy which I call the Trifecta unhit weekly pivot system. And we have an unhit weekly pivot, we have bullish divergence, and we could get a trend line break here. Namer, this is the way to add to that euro dollar position. This is it right here. This is the trend line break you're going to wait for. I would just want to buy the ever-loving crap out of the euro dollar once it breaks above that trend line. And then you can stop out below the lows if you want to and take profit at the weekly pivot all the way at 38.31. That looks delightful. I have time to do just a couple of questions. Brett says, how long is a missed pivot good for? Actually forever, Brett. But we base our trades upon the most recent missed pivot. Have I used it on futures contract? Michael asks. Namer has made a significant amount of money trading oil and other types of futures contracts, along with many other people that trade it with futures. Michael? Ryan says he has a quick question, and then he proceeds to ask a really long one. How long does it take for the Knoxville line to show up on the chart? Does it appear on the chart as soon as the divergence is happening? Yes. And then Ryan, inside the Trifecta course, we talk about my favorite time frames. Jose says, I'm in Spain and going to the Forex Day in Madrid. I'm very excited to have the chance to meet you in person. Me too. Wonderful. Okay. All right, everybody. Althea, what's the green lines that appear as divergence? I only have red lines on my charts. If you have green lines, they're either bullish if they're underneath price and bearish if they're on top of price. And Jerome says divergence has to be after the missed pivot, right? Yes. And then I'm going to answer a question from my good friend Rob. Hey, Rob, how are you? Thanks for all the good work. Please list your favorite pairs you look at as I'm going to trim my list of pairs I trade. All right, so here's my favorite currency pairs to trade. This methodology. Pound Swiss is wonderful. Pound New Zealand is wonderful. Australian New Zealand is wonderful. The euro dollar it's acceptable and okay. The euro Canadian is good. The Swiss yen is nice. And then dollar yen is nice as well. Those are all good pairs. I'll leave that up for a moment so that you can see those favorites. If you trade stocks, I love the technology stocks. Facebook, Twitter, Groupon, LinkedIn. Love those a lot for this strategy. And I'm going to put that link back up on the website again. For those of you that are not owners of the Trifecta 2 methodology, it is $27. It's not... It almost sounds kind of stupid, right? Because it's just not very expensive, so it makes me sound like it's kind of a dumb system. It's probably the best thing that I have ever done in my whole life, as far as like inventing of trading methodologies go. I took it off sale last week, but when I realized that I was doing this webinar today, I thought I would put that link back up and make it live. So what I'm going to do is go into the website, and I'm going to pop up that buy button on the website. So in the next 5 minutes, I will make that buy button appear so that if you want it, you can get it. Of course, if you don't want it, it's no offense to me, and still love all of you traders very much. And I appreciate you spending some time with me tonight. I did record this webinar, and I will send you a link to this recording within the next 24 hours. I want to wish all of you a really happy Tuesday and Wednesday. And thanks, Namer, for being here, and Chris Pulver for all the work you and Namer and Jan Hendrik have been doing on the Trifecta course site to help traders understand how you do it. Thank you to everyone who stayed up late or spent a few moments away from their families or friends to be here in the webinar. And I will see you very soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.